Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. All right, so we're setting the themes for 2025. We talked about tariffs, we talked about debt. Well, we talked about the spending side of debt. What about the income side of debt? I mean, if you've got a whole bunch more money coming into government or your company or your household, well, you can handle more debt if the income is coming in. Well, for government, the key thing then is, are we going into a recession? Because if we go into a recession, income tax revenues drop, business tax revenues, corporate tax revenues fall. At the same time, spending is increasing. That's a bad combination. So let's look at the income side of it. And what are Walt and I looking at for kind of signals that it's very likely we will be in a recession in 2025? Some of the stories are just anecdotal. Remember a few years back, you saw help wanted signs everywhere. Help wanted. Are you seeing as many of those? I'm not. Are you seeing restaurant traffic as high as it was in years past? I'm not. Are the shopping malls as busy? These are all stories where we're starting to get statistics that are backing it up. Credit card use is actually dropping a little bit. Well, that's good. I'm glad people aren't using it as much. At the same time, it's telling you something that people are starting to pull in on their spending. And the reason they do that is they're more concerned about the future. Maybe they don't want to spend as much. The other thing we're seeing is people are not leaving their jobs. They were the way they were a couple of years ago, where we had this take this job, I'm out, I can always get something else unless you give me a pay raise. We're not seeing that anymore. The other thing we're not seeing is hiring the way we were seeing before. In the past, it was, like we said, help wanted. We haven't seen huge layoffs yet, but what we have seen is employers not hiring new people, not taking on more staff. All these are indicators of a recession. And if you look at, by the way, let me just show you this chart. This is civilian employment, and that's kind of a choppy chart. But if you see it drop really far, that was COVID back here. And then all the hiring popped back up. And now look what's happened now over here. It's all coming back down again before the level line. And that's private employment. That's not government employment. Now, those are our neighbors here who are working in the small businesses. They're not hiring anymore. So what does this mean? There's a very good chance we will be in recession this year, and you're going to see income tax revenues and corporate tax revenues falling. And of course, everybody's going to blame the new administration. You always inherit, the first year you're inheriting the previous president's policies. No political blame here. Let's just talk about realities. How will then the government respond? We have to do something. And government will start spending more to stimulate the economy. The Federal Reserve will try to drop interest rates to stimulate the economy. All of this will lead to, remarkably, more inflation. So, are we invested correctly? I believe so. Is it going to be choppy, like these charts? Yes, probably. I guess the lesson of today is don't always look at just the spending side, but also the income side. And I expect there will be stresses there in 2025. And with that, I'll turn it over to Walt.